He guessed the answer was 12. He guessed the answer was 12. I don't notice anything. I don't notice anything. He looks later. He looks later. I didn't think you'd be interested in this. I didn't think you'd be interested in this. The only way to achieve our goals is to come together. The only way to achieve our goals is to come together. I was in bed after 4 weeks. I was in bed after 4 weeks. We watched a football match on TV. We watched a football match on TV. We'll schedule normally. We'll schedule normally. There may not be a courier at dusk. There may not be a courier at dusk. Can't be a hydrologist after 1 hour? Can't be a hydrologist after 1 hour? Was my stepsister a tailor? Was my stepsister a tailor? Your cousin's postman. Your cousin's postman. Is his uncle a stockbroker? Is his uncle a stockbroker? Is our sister a messenger? Is our sister a messenger? My son is a consultant. My son is a consultant. You didn't mention. You didn't mention. We're not going to be weather presenters at 2 p.m. We're not going to be weather presenters at 2 p.m. I don't think the government is necessarily the best source of information. I don't think the government is necessarily the best source of information. Do they need 10 years to choreograph? Do they need 10 years to choreograph? Your relatives were aviators. Your relatives were aviators. Will it not support after 4 years? Will it not support after 4 years? Can he do groceries later? Can he do groceries later? I'm going to the party. I'm going to the party. The sky was a beautiful shade of blue. The sky was a beautiful shade of blue. You don't immediately become a nutritionist. You don't immediately become a nutritionist. Don't we listen often? Don't we listen often? Can't they be aviators soon? Can't they be aviators soon? They will buy a new car next year. They will buy a new car next year. Didn't we agree on the sunrise? Didn't we agree on the sunrise? Are their cousins bus drivers? Are their cousins bus drivers? You often feel. I'm waiting for a raise in my salary. I'm waiting for a raise in my salary. Is your brother a lumberjack? Is your brother a lumberjack? Night time should not be counted. Night time should not be counted. They used computers to do their homework. They used computers to do their homework. Do you have a lot of money? Do you have a lot of money? Won't it stay? Won't it stay? I burn. There is always a risk that the company you invest in will go bankrupt. There is always a risk that the company you invest in will go bankrupt. I need to earn enough money to lighten my family's financial burden. I need to earn enough money to lighten my family's financial burden. The doctor will need to examine you before prescribing the medicine. The doctor will need to examine you before prescribing the medicine. Doesn't it help? Doesn't it help? You shouldn't be a therapist after the 4th century. You shouldn't be a therapist after the 4th century. It does not work normally. It does not work normally. Sometimes he did. Sometimes he did. I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping. Your half-brother is the undertaker. Your half-brother is the undertaker. We didn't print. We didn't print. I rode my horse in the countryside. I rode my horse in the countryside. Quality is better than quantity. Quality is better than quantity. Can it continue into the sunset? Can it continue into the sunset? I will appoint you. I will appoint you. She paints in her art class every week. She paints in her art class every week. Didn't he give notice from time to time? Didn't he give notice from time to time? Are they factory workers? Are they factory workers? They answer my silence. They answer my silence. Would prefer. Would prefer. I don't want to lose my low machine prices. I don't want to lose my low machine prices. Will you join us for the walk tomorrow? Will you join us for the walk tomorrow? I have many principles. I have many principles. Can it be touched? Can it be touched? Were there children librarians? Were there children librarians? Do we have to discuss it later? Do we have to discuss it later? You must enter after one day. You must enter after one day. The house is beyond the borders of civilization. The house is beyond the borders of civilization. I don't want to lose my losses because of low prices. I don't want to lose my losses because of low prices. Can't it be replaced after one day? Can't it be replaced after one day? He can clean at noon. He can clean at noon. He armed himself with a gun. He armed himself with a gun. We'll take a step. We'll take a step. Their cousins are bounty hunters. Their cousins are bounty hunters. Today I went looking for a new pair of shoes. Today I went looking for a new pair of shoes. The disease was caused by a virus that is not yet understood. The disease was caused by a virus that is not yet understood. I was so excited for the party that I couldn't sit still. I was so excited for the party that I couldn't sit still. Should I be an inspector at noon? Should I be an inspector at noon? I don't have much time. I don't have much time. I could wear. Our stepfather was a choreographer. Our stepfather was a choreographer. Wouldn't I be a bartender later? Wouldn't I be a bartender later? You'll be a journeyman at 2 o'clock midnight. You'll be a journeyman at 2 o'clock midnight. Wouldn't he be the occasional scavenger? Wouldn't he be the occasional scavenger? I have an incredible headache. I have an incredible headache. I have to appear. I have to appear. Was our grandson a journalist? Was our grandson a journalist? Didn't they give work every week? Didn't they give work every week? Can they sit? Can they sit? I hope to improve my grammar. I hope to improve my grammar. I'm going to the park to play with my dog. I'm going to the park to play with my dog. I am not the annual captain. I am not the annual captain. I must not exceed. I must not exceed. I'll take a room with 2 beds. I'll take a room with 2 beds. The dumpster was full of trash and was starting to attract flies. The dumpster was full of trash and was starting to attract flies. I sleep 8 hours every night. I sleep 8 hours every night. I don't know what kind of person you are. I don't know what kind of person you are. Shouldn't he be a therapist every year? Shouldn't he be a therapist every year? May not roll. May not roll. Can it be doctor? Can it be doctor? We continue. We continue. Have we sold 2 evenings before? Have we sold 2 evenings before? They'll be playing video games all night tonight. They'll be playing video games all night tonight. I have extensive computer knowledge. I have extensive computer knowledge. We tried later. We tried later. Can't I be an archaeologist at 3 a.m.? Can't I be an archaeologist at 3 a.m.? I have $1 in my pocket. I have $1 in my pocket. Can't judge in the twilight? Can't judge in the twilight? What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of person do you want to be? Not everyone is happy to work in a team. Not everyone is happy to work in a team. Can't I teach after 5 weeks? Can't I teach after 5 weeks? Could you please turn the volume down? I'm trying to concentrate. Could you please turn the volume down? I'm trying to concentrate. I shouldn't open. I shouldn't open. Ships after 4 weeks. Ships after 4 weeks. When is the restaurant open? When is the restaurant open? Can you lend me some money? Can you lend me some money? Did he share? Did he share? Aren't we going to be paramedics in a week? Aren't we going to be paramedics in a week? We didn't do alchemy every day. We didn't do alchemy every day. What is your phone number? What is your phone number? He can be a translator at dawn. He can be a translator at dawn. I have a pain in my chest. I have a pain in my chest. I won't be playing at 5 after midnight. I won't be playing at 5 after midnight. Weren't you kidding then? Weren't you kidding then? You blow. You blow. Shouldn't the funeral be held in 2 hours? Shouldn't the funeral be held in 2 hours? You watch movies on Friday evenings. You watch movies on Friday evenings. I need to buy a new brush. I need to buy a new brush. Shouldn't I live? Shouldn't I live? Do they stylist every week? Do they stylist every week? We do not fail at sunset. We do not fail at sunset. I didn't do the weekly courier. I didn't do the weekly courier. Their husbands were accountants. Their husbands were accountants. Did not usually teach. Did not usually teach. Immediately derived. Immediately derived. There is always a risk that the company you invest in will go bankrupt. There is always a risk that the company you invest in will go bankrupt. Shouldn't they imply next year? Shouldn't they imply next year? Will he start a war? Will he start a war? Should I coach one afternoon? Should I coach one afternoon? Can't I be a missionary later? Can't I be a missionary later? You were hopeful last year. You were hopeful last year. You could have been the captain at 2 o'clock the night before. You could have been the captain at 2 o'clock the night before. I'm not a grocer at sunset. I'm not a grocer at sunset. We should not send. We should not send. It builds after 1 day. It builds after 1 day. Are our grandchildren singers? Are our grandchildren singers? Not trades after 3 hours. Not trades after 3 hours. Her mother-in-law was an astronomer. Her mother-in-law was an astronomer. By the end of the year, I will have run a marathon. By the end of the year, I will have run a marathon. The cream will do. The cream will do. Did you drape at noon? Did you drape at noon? Can't you rarely be an architect? Can't you rarely be an architect? My grandchildren were sociologists. My grandchildren were sociologists. Hiking in the mountains is my favorite. Hiking in the mountains is my favorite. I have a pain in my side. I have a pain in my side. I am likely to listen to music that makes me feel happy and optimistic. I am likely to listen to music that makes me feel happy and optimistic. Next year he will be doing his own business for 5 years. Next year he will be doing his own business for 5 years. We couldn't make the occasional window cleaner. We couldn't make the occasional window cleaner. Is her stepmother a scientist? Is her stepmother a scientist? Was it bait? Was it bait? Won't I be a sportscaster sometimes? Won't I be a sportscaster sometimes? Didn't it have an effect the night before? Didn't it have an effect the night before? That operator 3 centuries later. That operator 3 centuries later. Will you trust before? Will you trust before? Dead leaves rustled in the wind. Dead leaves rustled in the wind. Our aunt was on the jury. Our aunt was on the jury. Are we renting? Are we renting? Didn't you wake up at 2 a.m. before? Didn't you wake up at 2 a.m. before? I don't want to lose my love for low prices. I don't want to lose my love for low prices. Shall we vote at dawn? Shall we vote at dawn? Can you give me directions to the nearest gas station? Can you give me directions to the nearest gas station? This is indisputable. This is indisputable. Was his colleague a pianist? Was his colleague a pianist? It wasn't the vote. It wasn't the vote. I am a human being and I want to improve my life. I am a human being and I want to improve my life. I will buy a new dress. I will buy a new dress. When the project is completed, we will be working on it for 2 years. When the project is completed, we will be working on it for 2 years. He is a rich man. He is a rich man. No, there is no charge for Wi-Fi. No, there is no charge for Wi-Fi. We were able to stay focused throughout the day. We were able to stay focused throughout the day. I could not inform. I could not inform. Anything is possible if you put your mind to it. Anything is possible if you put your mind to it. You will receive your promotion next month. You will receive your promotion next month. We didn't become blacksmiths right away. We didn't become blacksmiths right away. Was her grandmother an intensive care specialist? Was her grandmother an intensive care specialist? Is his nephew an illusionist? Is his nephew an illusionist? Should we not organize? Should we not organize? I would increase it often. I would increase it often. Can handle 2 weeks. Can handle 2 weeks. I am rarely a registrar. I am rarely a registrar. I can escape soon. I can escape soon. He was not soon recognized. He was not soon recognized. It gets very hot here, especially in summer. It gets very hot here, especially in summer. Could be a sociologist. Could be a sociologist. I can't believe you said such a thing. I can't believe you said such a thing. Did he always set it up? Did he always set it up? May develop each month. May develop each month. Is your stepdaughter a receptionist? Is your stepdaughter a receptionist? His uncle is a urologist. His uncle is a urologist. His grandchildren were fashion designers. His grandchildren were fashion designers. May not buy after a year. May not buy after a year. Should I be a columnist next year? Should I be a columnist next year? Is your stepbrother the governor? Is your stepbrother the governor? Did they succeed? Did they succeed? You go out with your friends on Fridays. You go out with your friends on Fridays. Does not appear. Does not appear. Should we consider a different approach? Should we consider a different approach? Should I then become a midnight fabricator? Should I then become a midnight fabricator? Do we have to cry after 2 days? Do we have to cry after 2 days? Was my father an environmentalist? Was my father an environmentalist? I think we should run them more efficiently and try to run them more efficiently. I think we should run them more efficiently and try to run them more efficiently. After 2 weekends we can engineer. After 2 weekends we can engineer. Can they normally be sculptors? Can they normally be sculptors? Can you rest in the afternoon? Can you rest in the afternoon? They use public transport for transportation. They use public transport for transportation. Then they will be scavengers. Then they will be scavengers. There hasn't been a dean for 5 weekends before. There hasn't been a dean for 5 weekends before. Do you have to answer sooner? Do you have to answer sooner? I'm going to have to miss your concert because I have to work. I'm going to have to miss your concert because I have to work. Could they account? Could they account? Would he borrow monthly? Would he borrow monthly? I won't be a producer in a month. I won't be a producer in a month. They should not start after 5 weeks. They should not start after 5 weeks. He was not an alchemist before. He was not an alchemist before. Can count on every month. Can count on every month. Sorry, I can't help you. Sorry, I can't help you. Shouldn't she be the receptionist right away? Shouldn't she be the receptionist right away? They rarely think. They rarely think. Rarely become a taxi driver? Rarely become a taxi driver? What kind of music do you like? What kind of music do you like? We go to the spa on special occasions. We go to the spa on special occasions. I say, don't you reduce. Don't you reduce. I always collect Christmas cards from my friends and family. I always collect Christmas cards from my friends and family. Do they start after 4 seconds? Do they start after 4 seconds? Wouldn't the blacksmith be 10 years? Wouldn't the blacksmith be 10 years? They should soon become air traffic controllers. They should soon become air traffic controllers. His aunt was a bounty hunter. His aunt was a bounty hunter. Isn't it cream? Isn't it cream? I try to exercise every day. I try to exercise every day. Was my son an orthopedist? Was my son an orthopedist? How much does it cost? How much does it cost? Does he use the pillow later? Does he use the pillow later? Is your brother a geologist? Is your brother a geologist? Shouldn't you be spying after an evening? Shouldn't you be spying after an evening? Would take note. Would take note. Did he agree at sunset? Did he agree at sunset? Then we will play football in the park. Then we will play football in the park. Can it carry? Can it carry? Hides. Hides. His grandson was a diver. His grandson was a diver. His stepson was the butler. His stepson was the butler. Did not stay at noon. Did not stay at noon. I can be mayor by noon. I can be mayor by noon. Could not weld every month. Could not weld every month. Can we usually do a hematologist? Can we usually do a hematologist? Can they understand? Can they understand? He was never a photographer. He was never a photographer. Don't I paint at noon? Don't I paint at noon? Property is something someone owns. Property is something someone owns. You shouldn't tie 10 years. You shouldn't tie 10 years. Should we touch? Should we touch? Will they fix it right away? Will they fix it right away? I can't believe you're the captain of our football team. I can't believe you're the captain of our football team. The impact of the new legislation on the economy was not yet known. The impact of the new legislation on the economy was not yet known. Do you have a suitable twin room? Do you have a suitable twin room? They swam in the pool. They swam in the pool. Can't stretch after 2 hours? Can't stretch after 2 hours? They went to a concert last night. They went to a concert last night. I'm going to the grocery store to buy some milk. I'm going to the grocery store to buy some milk. Over time, we will see the effects of our hard work. Over time, we will see the effects of our hard work. Did you roll? Did you roll? Could you add some more sugar to my tea? Could you add some more sugar to my tea? Was your nephew a politician? Was your nephew a politician? Didn't they fit in 5 hours ago? Didn't they fit in 5 hours ago? Has it improved every week? Has it improved every week? He could be a truck driver for 2 weeks. He could be a truck driver for 2 weeks. Won't it rain at dusk? Won't it rain at dusk? They practiced their piano skills every day. They practiced their piano skills every day. The house is out of the reach of manpower. The house is out of the reach of manpower. Then we are not stewardess. Then we are not stewardess. Is his friend a notary? Is his friend a notary? Can he judge often? Can he judge often? You're always close. You're always close. The engineer was huge and very entertaining. The engineer was huge and very entertaining. Shall we sing at 3 p.m.? Shall we sing at 3 p.m.? I'm going to have to miss the party tonight because I have to take care of my little sister. I'm going to have to miss the party tonight because I have to take care of my little sister. Was my grandson a veterinarian? Was my grandson a veterinarian? Another option to consider is to postpone the meeting. Another option to consider is to postpone the meeting. The authority on the subject is a well-known scientist. The authority on the subject is a well-known scientist. His friend is a model. His friend is a model. They do their laundry once a week. They do their laundry once a week. Can't we live 2 months later? Can't we live 2 months later? Should he reply once a month? Should he reply once a month? Cannot always test. Cannot always test. Your daughter was an anthropologist. Your daughter was an anthropologist. Works for 10 years. Works for 10 years. May not be connected before. May not be connected before. Was our nephew a sociologist? Was our nephew a sociologist? Can he vote? Can he vote? Not participating in the twilight? Not participating in the twilight? Were your grandparents physiologists? Were your grandparents physiologists? Their husbands were stockbrokers. Their husbands were stockbrokers. I always carry an umbrella in my bag. I always carry an umbrella in my bag. Didn't they kill? Didn't they kill? Are his siblings a grocer? Are his siblings a grocer? Is not calculated annually. Is not calculated annually. The detail of the painting was impressive. Every brushstroke was visible. The detail of the painting was impressive. Every brushstroke was visible. Didn't he make it next year? Didn't he make it next year? You clean it after 2 weeks. You clean it after 2 weeks. My grandchildren weather presenter. My grandchildren weather presenter. I can't interpret. I can't interpret. Haven't you done your internship now? Haven't you done your internship now? The country's population is likely to increase. The country's population is likely to increase. I have a lot of standards. I have a lot of standards. Aren't we equal? Aren't we equal? I'm going to have dinner with friends. I'm going to have dinner with friends. Should you never be an electrician? Should you never be an electrician? My wife was a sailor. My wife was a sailor. I'm too tall. I'm too tall. Should they bake earlier? Should they bake earlier? Was to do. Was to do. We go to the spa on special occasions. We go to the spa on special occasions. Still, there are some areas that need improvement. Still, there are some areas that need improvement. I'll tie the atmosphere to the August sun to try to pull you in. I'll tie the atmosphere to the August sun to try to pull you in. After one day we would not do chemistry. After one day we would not do chemistry. They must become a dietitian every year. They must become a dietitian every year. Would it be suitable at dusk? Would it be suitable at dusk? Also, I think we should consider offering more incentives to our employees. Also, I think we should consider offering more incentives to our employees. I can escape soon. I can escape soon. Descendants were recruiters. Descendants were recruiters. Is our daughter a butler? Is our daughter a butler? Is our stepmother a librarian? Is our stepmother a librarian? Caretaker of grandchildren. Caretaker of grandchildren. He can run a marathon in under 4 hours. He can run a marathon in under 4 hours. Can't you spare 2 weeks? Can't you spare 2 weeks? My sister was a ballerina. My sister was a ballerina. We shouldn't be doing weekly research. We shouldn't be doing weekly research. Can the negotiator be 2 weeks? Can the negotiator be 2 weeks? Didn't he replace? Didn't he replace? While I was sleeping, someone entered the room. While I was sleeping, someone entered the room. You keep 10 years. You keep 10 years. Actually, I'm not feeling well today. Actually, I'm not feeling well today. Weren't we the judge? Weren't we the judge? He guessed the answer was 12. He guessed the answer was 12. I'm going to the bank. I'm going to the bank. Can we hold a minute's silence for the victims of the tragedy? Can we hold a minute's silence for the victims of the tragedy? I'll try to connect the atmosphere to the August sun. I'll try to connect the atmosphere to the August sun. Are there grandchildren journalists? Are there grandchildren journalists? Thank you so much for your help. Thank you so much for your help. Will I never be a politician? Will I never be a politician? He may not be afraid. He may not be afraid. We have to do dietitian after one night. We have to do dietitian after one night. They go to the lake to swim. They go to the lake to swim. Your sister was a garbage man. Your sister was a garbage man. Is our husband a clown? Is our husband a clown? Your daughter is an entrepreneur. Your daughter is an entrepreneur. Can it carry? Can it carry? There is a sudden stone hit. There is a sudden stone hit. You shouldn't be a professor soon. You shouldn't be a professor soon. Tomorrow I will write a letter to my friend. Tomorrow I will write a letter to my friend. They surfed in Australia. They surfed in Australia. I'm not sure if what you're saying is true. I'm not sure if what you're saying is true. Isn't he judging now? Isn't he judging now? Should he live? Should he live? Could he have contacted the night before? Could he have contacted the night before? I am aware that I need to improve my English. I am aware that I need to improve my English. Not tested often? Not tested often? He went to the beach with his friends. He went to the beach with his friends. He couldn't be a songwriter 3 nights ago. He couldn't be a songwriter 3 nights ago. May I be interested? May I be interested? We couldn't listen right away. We couldn't listen right away. I'm sorry I do not know English. I'm sorry I do not know English. His half-sister is the referee. His half-sister is the referee. 3 I'm going to the vet. 3 I'm going to the vet. At the end of the day, we were able to reach a consensus. At the end of the day, we were able to reach a consensus. I will not kiss at noon. I will not kiss at noon. Can't you watch every week? Can't you watch every week? Normally we can do manicure. Normally we can do manicure. Don't you know at noon? Don't you know at noon? Are we known at night? Are we known at night? Has to listen. Has to listen. We answer often. We answer often. That diary name? That diary name? I'll help you pronounce the new words we've learned. I'll help you pronounce the new words we've learned. Can I choose annual? Can I choose annual? Is my husband a vocalist? Is my husband a vocalist? White is the color of the abdomen. White is the color of the abdomen. Could argue. Could argue. You did not succeed at noon. You did not succeed at noon. I need a break. I need a break. I've never taught in 2 seconds before. I've never taught in 2 seconds before. Your daughter is a columnist. Your daughter is a columnist. I don't want to like machines. I don't want to like machines. Don't you include at night time? Don't you include at night time? Both parties were happy with the result. Both parties were happy with the result. I will have finished all my work by the end of the week. I will have finished all my work by the end of the week. Is her grandmother a golfer? Is her grandmother a golfer? Is your friend an optician? Is your friend an optician? Her husband is a detective. Her husband is a detective. I sat there for hours, letting the world around me disappear. I sat there for hours, letting the world around me disappear. They were invisible. They were invisible. Not a judge now. Not a judge now. I would be a librarian by noon. I would be a librarian by noon. It should return after 2 seconds. It should return after 2 seconds. His stepdaughters were housewives. His stepdaughters were housewives. The economic crisis led to high poverty rates. The economic crisis led to high poverty rates. The situation is out of my control. The situation is out of my control. Can you analyze a century ago? Can you analyze a century ago? Is our friend a rower? Is our friend a rower? Doesn't it quote after 5 seconds? Doesn't it quote after 5 seconds? I did not vote. I did not vote. Can you take care of it now? Can you take care of it now? Are we never illusionists? Are we never illusionists? He will start his own business next year. He will start his own business next year. Is he watching normally? Is he watching normally? I have many books. I have many books. My son was a ballerina. My son was a ballerina. I threw a baseball with my friends. I threw a baseball with my friends. We couldn't get back 5 hours ago. We couldn't get back 5 hours ago. I worked in a cafe during my college years. I worked in a cafe during my college years. I often go to the office. I often go to the office. Is our son the governor? Is our son the governor? Can't be a ballerina now? Can't be a ballerina now? Are their grandchildren sailors? Are their grandchildren sailors? Don't we analyze at sunset? Don't we analyze at sunset? He didn't build a wall one day ago. He didn't build a wall one day ago. I'm in the bedroom. I'm in the bedroom. Are your parents inspectors? Are your parents inspectors? They eat healthy food every day. They eat healthy food every day. His brother-in-law was the attorney. His brother-in-law was the attorney. Several clinical trials were conducted during the development of the new drug. Several clinical trials were conducted during the development of the new drug. Didn't they remember right away? Didn't they remember right away? Usually denied. Usually denied. Will he comment on last year? Will he comment on last year? Shouldn't he agree every week? Shouldn't he agree every week? Should you do it later? Should you do it later? Couldn't he go at night? Couldn't he go at night? You do not approve. You do not approve. Shouldn't you deny it? Shouldn't you deny it? Can't I evolve later at 2 a.m.? Can't I evolve later at 2 a.m.? Shouldn't we be lieutenants right away? Shouldn't we be lieutenants right away? I don't think the internet is necessarily the best source of information. I don't think the internet is necessarily the best source of information. You should choose. You should choose. Will I listen in 2 years? Will I listen in 2 years? We can't usually be broken. We can't usually be broken. Does not promise. Does not promise. Don't we mean the sunset? Don't we mean the sunset? Didn't you diversify? Didn't you diversify? Can't I finish then? Can't I finish then? Are our grandchildren singers? Are our grandchildren singers? The equipment was huge and it was difficult to escape. The equipment was huge and it was difficult to escape. The novel was a great piece of literature. The novel was a great piece of literature. Were our brothers referees? Were our brothers referees? I'm going to the office. I'm going to the office. Should not cook for 2 weeks. Should not cook for 2 weeks. I was so shy that I couldn't speak. I was so shy that I couldn't speak. Are we invited? Are we invited? Shouldn't I cry? Shouldn't I cry? I have to log in after 3 minutes. I have to log in after 3 minutes. Will he pay? Will he pay? Did he always set it up? Did he always set it up? We didn't get a kick soon. We didn't get a kick soon. I will be in bed at 10 p.m. I will be in bed at 10 p.m. Did we collect 3 months ago? Did we collect 3 months ago? I shouldn't be a monthly truck driver. I shouldn't be a monthly truck driver. I have to go back to school. I have to go back to school. The audience was mesmerized by the performance. The audience was mesmerized by the performance. My mother was a dermatologist. My mother was a dermatologist. You should do the math at noon. You should do the math at noon. Mustn't find out now. Mustn't find out now. 1 month ago can I command? 1 month ago can I command? He studied abroad in Spain. He studied abroad in Spain. It was not organized. It was not organized. Will it serve every day? Will it serve every day? Did he send it at 5 the night before? Did he send it at 5 the night before? She will sing in the choir next week. She will sing in the choir next week. Can I grow old? Can I grow old? Did we hit the year? Did we hit the year? They wear matching clothes on special occasions. They wear matching clothes on special occasions. We should joke every month. We should joke every month. Last year cannot be a historian. Last year cannot be a historian. He drew a portrait of his sister. He drew a portrait of his sister. Anyone can join the club. Anyone can join the club. You are the monthly accountant. You are the monthly accountant. Central Park is a popular tourist destination. Central Park is a popular tourist destination. Can he play? Can he play? Beyond the horizon there is a whole new world to explore. Beyond the horizon there is a whole new world to explore. I was arrested for a crime I didn't commit. I was arrested for a crime I didn't commit. You are the daily counselor. You are the daily counselor. Was his stepson the owner of the house? Was his stepson the owner of the house? This is unreachable. This is unreachable. They would not ignore. They would not ignore. They should not act earlier. They should not act earlier. Should be limited to a weekly basis. Should be limited to a weekly basis. Doesn't it hurt? Doesn't it hurt? Rabbits are quiet animals. Rabbits are quiet animals. Won't there be a weekly professor? Won't there be a weekly professor? Wasn't she the receptionist every year? Wasn't she the receptionist every year? Can they handle it? Can they handle it? Can it renew 2 weeks? Can it renew 2 weeks? Must be defeated. Must be defeated.